All right, day 17. Let's talk about Scare Package, which is on Shudder. And I watched it again. I saw it the first time a month or two ago, and then I just rewatched it with Joe Bob Briggs late night driving. So I've seen this twice, and this one I'm just gonna review on 31 days because I forgot to review it before. And this is an anthology horror film where it's just a lot of basic, random, different horror sketches and or horror segments, and they're all interesting in their own right. But it's one of those anthology films where anthology films are weird because there's usually never an anthology film where I love every one of them completely. Like it's weird because this one has a lot of awesome things. I think that the main character who plays Chad is really funny. He's this video store owner, and then he gets another guy to work with him, but he's just really funny. Like he's really friendly to this other guy, and like he tries to get him to work into this job, and he keeps screwing it up. And it's funny with those gags. But it's weird because this movie is centered around different segments, but that character is telling the stories. So I think that's fun, and the idea of how they interconnect the segments, I think, is pretty fun. But honestly, I'd be lying to say if I didn't love all these segments. Again, it's weird to say this. I feel like this could have been way better if there were a couple segments gone. Like this really for me kind of just suffered having too many segments in it. Like there were some that were like really good and there were some that were really fun. Like the one with the girls licking the mask sucker and then they suddenly have Halloween masks as their face, which I thought that was a fun time. It was weird, but it was fun. Or the first one where it's the people at outside of the camp and like the guy melts into like goo and he's got like the troll 2 type of goo coming out of him like the green goo, which is really funny. Like that was a fun segment. And there are a lot of fun ones, but then there's some that are just really I didn't understand them. Like there was one with a girl who gets possessed who doesn't want this guy to answer the phone. It it's weird. I feel like some of these just didn't need to be here personally. Not saying they're all any of them are really bad, but I just thought, I felt like I could have used a couple less, like use the ones that I like more. And of course that's a selfish way of saying that, like, oh, pick what I want, um but as I'm reviewing it, I'm like I felt like it would have been more entertaining if I didn't have every one of these. There are a few that I'm like whatever. They're fine, they're not special, but there's some that were fun and enjoyable. And there were some times in this movie where I was thinking, man, this could be one of the best anthologies ever. Like it really worked and with a lot of segments. And then there were some where I'm like, man, that just drags it down. I'm like, it doesn't really work. And I can't think of exactly one to completely pinpoint first, but I just felt like there were too many of them. But it's funny. Like I said, there are a lot of great things. Like that Chad character is really fun, really funny. He should be in more movies. He's really awesome. It had Noah Segan in it, who is from he was in Knives Out, but I think he was in other Ryan Johnson movies. Um, I don't think he was in Last Jedi, but he might have been in Brick or Looper. Because I know he's been in other. I think he's been in other Ryan Johnson movies. I know he's in Knives Out for sure. I remember seeing him in that. But uh, but yeah, you got Noah Segan as well. But there's nobody else that's recognizable. But I think all the acting's good. Like the acting's all entertaining and enjoyable. But like I said, it gets dragged down with some segments that I just thought were pretty lame, and and it's got like I said, it's got some fun things like the main Chad guy, and also Joe Bob Briggs is in it for a minute. That's pretty funny. I can see why he put it on a show. That was pretty hilarious. And because I forgot whenever I watched the first time, I knew he was in it, but then I forgot whenever I rewatched it on the Joe Bob Briggs Late Night Drive-In that he was in it, and I was like, oh shit, I totally forgot. That makes total sense. But uh, but as is, I'm gonna say this is just a whatever middle of the road anthology movie. Like it could have been so much more, in my opinion. But it still has a lot of great things about it. A lot of great characters. The acting's good. The effects are good and awesome and fun. But it's just got some that are just boring and interesting to me. And I feel like it could have worked better if they were cut. But again, that's from a selfish point of view. So I just think it's middle of the road. Like it's okay. It's a fine anthology, but it's not anything super special. Even though it has a couple of fun moments that are really good. So that is pretty much it. All I could say about on Scare Package. So that's it for today, and see you guys tomorrow.